All of the good things we have in life, those things have been created by wealthy individuals that have put their own risk capital and said, in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, we shall create this thing, which governments unfortunately can't do.
Is that true though? Private equity is for, this project will likely churn out money in the next 5 to 10 years. That's really what it's for. In this 10 to 20, maybe in the future, that's what government funding is for. The mRNA vaccine was basically viewed as useless until the COVID vaccine came around. It was funded, and its research was funded basically exclusively by government grants because private equity thought it was too risky.
There's an even more pressing point here, which is that we are entering a state of political crisis, right? During which the interests of individuals who are vying for controlling interest not only in their own company, but in democratic affairs, is causing the unnecessary intervention of people who wouldn't necessarily otherwise have so much skin in the game. So for example, we have Elon Musk buying Twitter, entering the White House, J.K. Rowling in the UK helping to pass legislation. Whether or not you agree or disagree is completely irrelevant, right? It's about whether or not you want more or less accountability checks on the decisions made that affect you, which is why I think that we should have less influence of people with such extreme capacity to do harm to democratic accountability mechanism.
Tilly's cut into the heart of the issue here.
Everything that we have as human beings, that whether it's electric cars, which is good for climate change, there's no way governments would have got that over the line.
Why?
Because no one can get a decision done. That's why. Well, the evidence shows you that, Tilly, doesn't it?
I mean,
in the last, if you think we had 380,000 civil servants at the end of the Cameron government, we've now got 540,000 civil servants. Do you feel like we have a better, efficient running government? And that's why people feel disingenuous. We pay more tax than ever before, and we haven't really moved forward.
Monarchies are significantly more efficient than democracies. There's a reason that we overturn them.
I'm not saying I'm the biggest Bill Gates fan, but he has achieved more than most people.
For sure, yeah, no disagreement. It's just whether we collectively think that one person, regardless of who they are, I don't think I should have undue influence over global health policy. I don't think any of us should.
Just an ability to amass wealth is insufficient vetting for character.
You can have a social media influencer who isn't a billionaire, who has
huge influence,
massive influence on people, and can steer them politically in one direction or another with a 30-second reel that they put out. But they're not rich.
But if they're a billionaire, they can get that reach further.
She's got a point. When we're comparing things like just influence, yes, Joe Rogan, Adin Ross were thanked at the inauguration of President Trump. The difference with billionaires, especially Elon Musk, he has both. He has social influence and monetary influence. Adin Ross worked for his megaphone and got rich as a result. Elon Musk got rich and bought his megaphone. And we shouldn't act like these are the same things.
True.
The way I think to the way you think would be different. I want to work 7 days a week. I'm a workaholic. I want to work in the evening. I don't want to go on holiday. I want to create things. I want to borrow millions of pounds, put personal guarantees, put my house on the line. I want to employ lots of people. Other people go, do you know what? I just want to have a nice time and spend time with my family.
But no one wants to be in poverty. And I think also...
No. I'm not talking about being in poverty, but those people that take huge risk do get the rewards.
I would ask you, do you think that I have never taken out a £5 million loan because I don't want to?
I can't answer that question because I don't know you enough.
He's just running away from Tilly's poignant and good question.
Entrepreneurial people, business owners, the way they are is so different to most people. They have isms. They are... 35% of self-made millionaires in the UK are dyslexic. Why is that? They find different ways to navigate storms, and therefore they end up, because they're doing that, they risk more, they get rewarded more, and then they create stuff, and then they reinvest it and grow and grow and grow and do more and more, and then they get more and more.
He's not wrong about what he's saying. Obviously, most of the people that become multimillionaires in a capitalist system are going to be innovative, smart, creative, entrepreneurial, hardworking. And I agree with all of these things. The issue is that doesn't mean that they're good moral people. And increasingly, it's important that people understand there's a finite amount of money in the world, and the richest of the rich just always want a bigger slice. And the more tools they have, the more capital that they have, the more access to people that they have, they just try to take a larger and larger slice. That just leaves less of the pie for everyone else. And everyone's kind of sick of it. Even though the pie has gotten bigger, over the last 50, 100, 200 years.
There's a difference between sort of a multimillionaire and sort of those who are kind of, creating jobs and reinvesting. But a billionaire is the wealth is so astronomical. It's more than any one person can ever spend.
This guy is just replaying that TikTok of the grains of sand from the billionaire over and over and over in his head every single time he talks about this.
I know people that are so wealthy, they've put all of their money, all of their stuff out to work to create more stuff, and they're scrambling around for £1,000 to meet payroll, or they're stressed out how they're going to pay their people, how they're going to pay HMRC. These people take on so much stress that most people just wouldn't do it. Now, I appreciate other people in society have huge amounts of stress as well, but I'm just sort of sticking up for those risk capital creators, and you absolutely need them in your economy.
Nobody feels bad for your self-created stress because you have so many people on payrolls and so many investments and so much money going everywhere all the time that you're just gobbling, and you don't know where exactly it's going to come from at a time. Nobody cares, because everyone else's stress is, are they going to make rent? And they're doing the prototypical American dream that they were told was sufficient. They're trying to figure out if their kids have any hope of going to college, because they don't know where they're going to get the money from. Nobody cares about rich people's stress about how hard it is to be rich and have lots of businesses. You put yourself there. We're frustrated when you are putting us in this position that we don't want to be in.
My concern is that we're in a system of capitalism that works because, as you were saying, people risk and they push and they take, they put their money on the line.
Bring people with them.
Yeah, and it can do, but
Chris,
the issue that I think is the problem is, if we have this ever-increasing disparity of wealth, then there'll be an ever-increasing proportion of people who are disillusioned by the system in place. And that can lead to a kind of decay in society and eventually
in the Western world.
Civil kind of war, not to be like too dramatic, but if we're having such a disparity of wealth, and you're seeing it growing and growing and growing in economies like America, where you have the uber rich and you're having an ever-increasing proportion of society that are in abject poverty. And if that increases, we'll end up, I think, with a kind of, in a sense, a mass of people going, actually, why are we taking this? This is not fair. We are putting effort in. We're working in jobs that cost us. We're nurses or factory owners, and we are not seeing the level of income that we should be seeing.
I'd say if you work hard and you personally develop yourself and upskill yourself, you can have more.
Why are you not a billionaire?
Why you're not a billionaire?
Like, there's no realistic way for an ordinary person to become a billionaire.
You need to get smarter and put that with work harding, and you can do some great stuff.
Do you not?
Can I just interject and say, firstly, I look forward to your next $1 billion venture insofar as you can always bet yourself, right?
God his ass.
People can always better themselves.
Absolutely.
If they upskill themselves. I think you need to get smarter and put that with work harding, and you can do some great stuff.
This is also part of the problem, is that a lot of rich people genuinely think that because they work harder and they're smart and innovative and they've risen to the top, that they are better. And while they would never say this outright, you can tell that this business owner, he thinks he's doing a moral and kind of better thing by working harder and giving up his vacations and accruing all these things and bettering himself.
Let's just take a guess. Maybe it's low, maybe it's high. Let's say your net worth is £5 million. Elon Musk is almost 100,000 times richer than you. What we're arguing in this debate is not whether or not people should be wealthy. It's whether or not people should have such a degree of skin in the game that someone's compounding interest alone generates enough wealth for them not only to have such controlling interest in their own company, but also in the affairs of democracy. I would say that it puts us in a state of political emergency insofar as that is true.
I think most people can decide. We're lucky in this country and in the Western world. I don't like Elon Musk, or I like Elon Musk. Does he really affect your life day to day, Tilly?
He owns Twitter.
Does that affect you?
I
don't like
it
Twitter,
affects
go on Instagram.
well, digital
You don't like
radicalisation.
Instagram,
It affects me every
US
day.
policy, which affects all of us.
Don't go.
I don't know why he's even fighting over this. It's obvious that by owning Twitter that he has an impact on her day-to-day life. It's obvious that by influencing policy, he influences her day-to-day life. Of course, these things matter, because if you've bought a megaphone and along with it comes strings that you can attach to politicians, democracy is in question. In the past, we had issues with money in government because it was large lobby groups like the NRA buying politicians. What if it's one guy? And what if that one guy's kind of crazy? That's a genuine threat to democracy.
Time's up, everybody. Thank you all for your contributions. It is now time for us to vote.
The influence of billionaires is bound to get worse insofar as we don't address income inequality. And that's something that I'm extremely passionate about. I think during times of political emergency, we should look at who has the most power and who facilitates decision making. And that should always be in the hands of a government. People who are against autocracies should also be against billionaires.
Another way in which the rich affect us every single day is wage stagnation. CEO salaries are going up and corporate profits are going up, and yet the average worker's salary is stagnating. That affects you.
We have a final 15 minutes to try and reach a unanimous decision.
I really like the style that they're doing here, but I think one thing that would be way more interesting is if they establish lines of futility early on so that each person had a line at which they had to be convinced, because the reality is that nobody's going to change their mind on this panel.
And to pick up where we left off, Tilly, I was going to ask you for an example of Elon Musk posting something misogynistic on X.
I think there's maybe two components to this. The first one is and this is not, I will answer the second, like the main claim that you're trying to push, right? Which
No,
is
I'm
that I should
asking
give an
for an
example.
example.
But before I do
Evidence.
that, I'll say that I actually don't need to give an example to prove the point, which is that someone who has such a controlling interest in a social media company and also their own agenda, which is obviously right-wing to some capacity, again, whether you agree with that or not necessarily relevant, I don't think that that's a good thing because he controls the way in which we operate the algorithms. So even if he never says anything misogynistic, there is a proven increase in misogynistic language on the app. So I think there's that. Secondly, which is to address the example, Elon Musk is a proponent of a few things, mainly like this great replacement theory to do with white nationalism. White nationalism is an inherently misogynistic movement because of the fact that women are upheld as pedestals, white women specifically, are upheld as pedestals that represent a nation. And women who represent a nation should have certain requirements. And he cares very much about women who make babies. And if women don't make babies, their value decreases.
This feels a lot like when Anita Sarkeesian during Gamergate would only blame sexism as the root cause of all of the problems. The great replacement theory and the white nationalism that is attached to it is a legitimate concerning theory and has led to a lot of radicalization. I don't really think it's misogynistic in a meaningful, substantive way. I don't think that's why anyone should care about that topic either. The point was never that all billionaires were doing this. The point is that not even one should be able to. And he is.
Have you been enjoying notsoErudite? Get early access videos as a YouTube member or over on patreon.com. Thank you for your continued support.